do on this thing. It is, no joke, the biggest project I will ever work on to this point in my life. Hello lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting day for me because this is the start of a very important project, probably one of the more important projects of my life, which is turning this house, which used to be our old home, into an Airbnb. So there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done on this house, but let's go inside and I'll start to explain it to you guys step by step. It feels very nostalgic to be back here today. We came to cut the grass and it's all nice and cut now. So let's head on inside and I'll show you the living room and we'll go from there. So this is the living room. You saw many videos recorded in this room and it's very echoey right now because everything is empty. And honestly, since moving, this room seems so tiny to me. Like, I did not realize how small the square footage is actually in this room. But this was the wall, which I'll show you here in a second with some extra clips, that got damaged in the living room. So there is a little bit of peeling of paint, and the entire wall on this side had gotten soaked. So, you know, it's not ideal that the drywall also got damaged on this side of the house, which is actually kind of strange because the leak happened like right over there in the dining room, which I'll show you here in a second. I'm very excited to transform this room into the perfect Airbnb relaxing living room. It's so hard to believe that this is going to be an Airbnb very soon. Now, our goal is to actually finish this project before the end of the year because I am due next January. So we're on hustle time. There's a lot we need to do. Obviously, there was a lot of transition when we moved, but yeah, that is the plan. As you can see in the clips that I'm going to show you, I'm also going to be going through kind of the layers of what we did to the house. I'm at least going to, at the very minimum, show you what the house looked like before we moved in. And this was back when I was pregnant with Bethany. We were living at the time in an apartment, which was our very first apartment together that we moved into after we got married. And so looking at the transformation of this room alone, it was such a dramatic difference. This room was painted tan, and it had all of the trim, like up there at the top, was painted like a dark chocolate brown. So painting it white really helped in the grand scheme of making this room feel so much more bright and airy and large. The darker paint color was not doing this room any favors at all. It just felt very closed off. And they also had really hefty curtains on. Oh my goodness. There is a giant locust up here. Let me show you. Look at that. Do you see him? He's on top of the curtain rod. Just don't jump on me, bud, because that would not be fun. Look at that. Look at that giant little locust. I'm pretty sure that's a locust and not a grasshopper. Woo! He looked like he was gonna jump a second ago, which is why I said, oh my goodness. So coming through this main doorway is the dining room. And this dining room used to be painted a burgundy red, which was very popular in the early 2000s. It seemed like everyone and their mother had this color on the walls, but it was definitely way too dark for the space. We painted it initially all white, and then we obviously painted this back wall right here a very beautiful, like almost like a navy blue, but it's more of a charcoal, but it leans definitely more blue than black. And I really liked it. I really loved this focal point of a wall, especially with the two mirrors on the sides. I just felt like it really grounded the space and made for a really beautiful entrance as you came into the home. And it actually gave the illusion of making your eyes continue back because I had the black mirrors, the black framed mirrors, and then a black wall in the back. So I really liked that effect. And as you can see, we still have our giant china cabinet hutch in the corner. This was gifted to us by one of my friends when I worked in the medical field as a just receptionist, and she had this in her garage and she gifted it to us when we got married. So I have loved it. We opted to keep it. Oh my gosh, the grasshopper just jumped. I'm really glad I moved from where I was. If you can hear, by the way, if you can hear a lot of noise, Roberto is cutting the grass while I'm recording this video, and we just needed to get both done at the same time. So I apologize for the noise, but that's what that is. And I feel like this is really high. Let me see if I can lower you guys a little bit. So we opted to keep it here, and there's also another reason why. It's because there is a door behind this hutch, and the hutch, we put it in this corner because it would hide it. And it's like this weird plywood type door with a little knob, and it's just in the middle of the wall. We obviously painted it black when we painted that wall black, but it's just such an eyesore that this thing is probably here to stay. Now, in this room, particularly, let me see if I can hold this real quick, particularly right here, this corner under the ground, like right over here, was where the leak initially happened for the water. I was home one day and it just burst open and I was hearing tons and tons of water. So the majority of the damage on our floors was initially in this room where the floors just buckled completely. We had completely refinished, sanded, stained, and sealed these floors a couple of years before this happened. And it was absolutely devastating when it happened because they're not salvageable. Obviously they buckled, but on the underside and in the subfloor is where all of the mold is. And so it's not safe to keep them, obviously. And you can see in some of the places, in some of the clips that I got, I'll show right here, the tannin of the wood turned red. I think that's what it's called. And so if it gets wet and damaged, that will rise to the surface. So there's discoloration, there's the mold issue, and they're also buckled. And it was really devastating because these floors are original to this house. And as you know, this house is really, really old. It is, well, if you watched some of my previous videos, I've mentioned it before, that this house is like 100 years old. I'm pretty sure it was built in 1920 or 1925, maybe as early as 1915. So we're not exactly sure when it was built, but it's literally 100 years old, which is why the pipes burst in the first place. And one of the things that we are definitely going to be fixing in this home when we remediate the mold and fix the floors and fix the walls is going to be replacing all the piping under the house. Because if we just patch that one area, it's bound to happen again. The pipes are just rusted and corroded in a lot of areas, and it's just time for them to be replaced. So might as well do that while we rip the floors up, right? Okay, so coming straight over here, this was Bethany's room. I absolutely still love the color of this room that we picked. It is such a pretty, happy pink. The walls are kind of like a peachy coral. Unfortunately, I can't give you an exact color match because I mixed the color myself. It didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to, and I added a lot of yellow to the paint that I had. And so it changed the color quite a bit. But this will be one of the bedrooms of the Airbnb. And this house initially started out with 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and an additional add-on space in the back, which I'll show you here in a minute. This room, I don't remember what color it was. I believe it was like a yellow or like a very dingy white, if my memory serves me well. This room will be one of the 3 bedrooms here at the Airbnb. We're thinking about either doing a full bed in here or 2 twins. We'll do a combination of twin beds and a couple of fulls most likely, just so that it can accommodate a lot of different guests. If a family comes into town, it'll be great to have twin beds for the children, and a couple of different like couple beds would be great as well as an option. So I'm very excited. I'm not sure if we're gonna paint this room a different color or not, because Bethany is very attached to the color. It definitely needs some touch-ups here and there. There is a little bit of like, you know, there's a little bit of writing on the wall that we definitely need to touch up. But all in all, this room I don't think has very much damage. We might need to pull up the carpet and inspect underneath and see if this room's, you know, if the subfloor was damaged underneath. We obviously need to replace all of the flooring, and obviously a lot of the trim will have to go as well. This room is rather dark and always kind of has been. Initially, when we first moved to this house, this room was our master bedroom. And it is so small. You guys, it's literally like the size almost of like an RV room. There is a video here on my channel where I redid this room as our master bedroom. And I'll show you a few clips if I can find them of what this room looked like when it was Abby's room. And it's just very nostalgic to be in here, honestly. It feels like a lifetime ago that we actually were in this room, because it really was like 3 years ago when we moved out. So it just feels very nostalgic to me to be in here again, remember like literally all the memories of this entire house as we're walking through. I'm excited. This will be another room that will have a, probably a full. We'll probably do the full in this one, and then the twins in Bethany's old room, just simply because of the window placement. I think it would work a little bit better. And then over here, this is the kitchen. We did so much to this space from when we first saw this kitchen. It had a walk-through right here, which you'll see, and it was like a little coffee nook, but it was very not very functional. It was weird because the ceiling was really low and it just felt very claustrophobic. We obviously thought that it would be more functional to turn this space into kind of like a little bit of a dry goods area, which is what this shelf ended up being, and then as well as turning the other side of this little breakfast nook into the bathroom for our master. So it ended up working out really, really well. As far as the damage in this room and things that need to be fixed, I don't know if we're going to have to rip up the tile, because the tile is on a subfloor and the subfloor is obviously connected to the rest of the house. This part of the house, as well as everything this way, which includes the bathroom, the bedrooms, and then the living room and dining room, is all on top of a crawl space. And the crawl space was what, you know, obviously had all the moisture underneath for months at a time last summer. And we are not sure. So this might need to get torn up. It likely will, honestly. And then also the cabinetry, which sits on top, will all have to go. So this was originally all painted a like brown, and I redid them to white and like a two-tone, like white and black on the bottom. It's the same color as the wall in the dining room because I wanted to really tie those spaces together. And also, right before we moved out of this house, we had an incident happen where I was cooking one Saturday morning and we started smelling a ton of smoke all of a sudden. And I had made bacon and I hadn't drained the bacon grease in between batches, so my cast iron was full of grease. And it was still on, and I didn't realize I hadn't turned it off because I had cooked some and then gone to sit back down and I forgot to turn it off. And obviously this is an electric stove, so it's kind of harder to tell when things are still on. And the whole thing, I came in here was smoking really bad and I was like, oh my gosh, I left it on. So I go to turn it off, and the minute after I turned it off, the second after I turned it off, the whole thing ignited in flames, and there were flames literally up to here. You can probably still see the charring on here from all of the grease that just literally went everywhere. The flames were so high, and there was a ton of stuff in here. Obviously at the time, this was like our dry goods cabinet, and it was by the grace of God that it did not catch on fire. So, you okay, bud? So the backsplash, whenever that happened, got completely charred right here, and so did the fan, which is literally just hanging and it's off. So that all needs to be replaced. Likely it will be, you know, a lot of cabinetry replacement, and we'll go from there. It feels a little bit overwhelming, just a little bit. All right, so we're back on the patio, and this was a makeover that I never fully finished. And since we moved out, we had actually left our futon here. Forgot that it was here, kind of, sort of, and the last time that Roberto came, he actually let me know that someone had stolen our futon. So it is no longer here, and it is very sad because we loved that futon. It was very comfortable, and we had moved it out here, I think, a couple of summers ago, and we just enjoyed, you know, sitting out here drinking coffee and enjoying the fall weather and the early mornings in the summertime. It was just wonderful, but it's gone. So I might put a bench out here, I might not. Honestly, as an Airbnb, I'm not sure how much stuff I'll put out here, just for reasons that things get stolen in this neighborhood, and it's really unfortunate. There was also a little table back here, which I don't know if that also got stolen or if I moved it before we moved. It might be out in the garage. So I had started and almost finished the stenciling of this porch, and it used to be like completely concrete, and it was just very ugly. So I took it upon myself to paint with a single stencil the entire thing to look like tile. And I never sealed it, so it is a little bit stained in some parts, but overall I think it looks pretty decent considering that it is outside. I have like 1 or 2 steps left to finish on the front of the porch, and it'll be done. So I might just leave it as is, touch up a little bit of the white paint where it needs to be touched up, and probably seal it, or maybe leave it, I'm not sure. But that is the plan for the porch. It's one of my favorite spots in this entire house because it's all covered. It's something that I really wish we had in our new house, but unfortunately we don't have a covered porch. So yeah, this is one of the very special features about an American Craftsman, is that you usually have a large covered porch in front of the house because people used to not have AC in their homes, and American Craftsmen were typically built before AC was a regular thing that people had. So they would come out and sit on their porches and cool off. So in this room, there was actually a leak that happened after the winter season. We think some of the pipes froze in here, and we hadn't drained our lines, and we learned our lesson from that. But this was an additional leak that happened after we moved this past winter, because it was connected to this whole thing with the laundry, because we have the laundry washer and dryer right here, and then there's like some pipes underneath this area. So one of those pipes had burst, and it destroyed the trim, and it destroyed the floors back here. So it's honestly, like, we were just grateful that it didn't continue to flood, so the damage was minimal, but the floors do need to be replaced in this room, and in this room. This is our bedroom. Very nostalgic to me. This whole house, obviously Addie and Gabriel were both born in this house. Gabriel was born in this room, and Addie was born in the bathroom on the other side of the house. This will be obviously the master of the Airbnb. We have a connected bathroom right here, and it also has a closet, and all of this was an add-on. We completely redid this room, and it used to be an office. So it had some really janky windows in here and a really odd corner closet that we took out and redid to make the closet be right here with sliding doors and mirrors, and it just was a lot more functional at that point and made a lot more sense for us. So this will become the full bedroom for the Airbnb. I'm very excited to see how it turns out. This is our house. I'm going to take you around to the front so you can see what it looks like. So this was added on to the back. It's a shed, like a lean-to, but it's like the laundry room and the extra room, and then this is the original house.
that was built in 1915. This is the side yard. It's pretty big and it's gated in, but we're gonna put an actual big fence that's not see-through on this side. And then this is the front of the house. Has a covered porch right here. It has a pretty big front yard. It's on the corner. Here, show the front of the house so you can see the
We gotta clean all this up too.
Yeah. We'll put in some actual handrails. This is made out of like, what do you call this? Drainage pipes or something. So this is covered and there's hooks here to put in a porch swing, which my friend has one that she's gonna give me. And then there's a little patio there. Okay, we got a phone system. It has a nice glass storm door. And then this is the inside of the house. We don't have the electricity on right now, but at least you can see. So this is more like a decor piece currently. It doesn't actually work unless we were to do something with the gas line that it has still installed, but it's capped off. So this is the living room.
Careful, dude.
It's really small. I kind of think that the crown molding was part of the original crown molding of the house. And then the floors we think are original as well. They're in pretty good shape. They need to be sanded though and re-stained and sealed. And then this room is the dining room. It's really dark because they painted it burgundy. So it kind of sucks the light out. But it's a pretty good size. It'll fit our dining room table. And we need to redo the ceiling because the ceiling is, it's not real ceiling. It's like a really fragile material. I don't even know what it is, but it has holes in it. And then we'll replace the chandelier. And then this is the kitchen. It has a dishwasher actually already installed. At some point they renovated this. The other two rooms, can't really see much. Let me turn on my flashlight. Okay, so this is the bathroom. It's really weirdly laid out. They put the toilet right next to the door, so you kind of walk into it, and the door swings out. So we want to flip it around to where the toilet would be in its original spot, which was next to the tub, and then the sink was over here. So that would be more efficient use of space. And then have the door actually open that way on the inside. But the doorknobs to the house are really old. We think that these were the original ones. They have a really old keyhole. And then this room, pretty small, but has 3 windows. Faces the front of the house. And it has a small little closet. People had a lot less clothes in 1915 apparently. If you think about it, they probably only had like a few sets of clothes instead of huge closets. So we'll have to figure out storage. This would probably be, I'm not sure, probably would be our room. And then this is the small linen closet that it has. That is the water heater, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Water heater over there. And then this room would be Bethany's room. Since it's towards the back, it probably would be more quiet. I keep trying to turn the lights on. And it has one window to the side, neighbor's house. It's darker too, so that'll be good for her. And then this closet here, small little closet. And this one has floors. The other one has carpet, so we'll have to replace that. And that's pretty much all the house. There's also a really oddly placed tiny little closet that has the What is that? Is that also a water heater? Or was that the heater for the house?
Yeah, that's a heater for that.
Heater for the house.
Mm-hmm.
But the air conditioning works really good. Let me go show you the outside. I just locked it. Yeah. Which way is it open? Oh, it's just the heat. So then this is the back of the house. We want to put a door here so that we can get into the garage easily. This is the added-on garage that they built, or not, it's not added on, it's just separate from the house. But it fits 2 cars. And then this is the backyard. And it has like really old clothesline hooks on it. Clothesline poles, I guess that's what they're called. And then if we go around this way, this is the backyard. My father-in-law came and my mother-in-law, and they cut all of the bamboo down. It looked like that over there, and it was taking over like half of the yard on this part. So he came and cut it all down for us. We're gonna have to go over it a second time and then dig the roots out because it's really hard to get rid of. I don't know what this was. I think that they had a greenhouse here originally, so they put gravel down. But there's a raised garden bed already here, and it has a pretty big backyard, so it's really nice. We can plant a lot of stuff back here, and maybe put some fruit trees in and put up a nice fence, so it'll look a lot different once we start working on it.
All right, so we're ending off this video at the back of the house. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what we have done to this house so far, from where we bought it to now, and you'll enjoy seeing the progress as we complete it to becoming an Airbnb. I'll see you guys very soon in another video on my channel. Bye guys.